Ooh, is he long-winded? 5 minutes late, Jamie.
We are now joined by Matt Kenseth, driver of the number 20 Home Depot Husky Toyota. Matt, obviously strategy this weekend. Talk a little bit about your quest for the getting into the next round of for the NASCAR Sprint Cup Series chase, and your thoughts on being here at Talladega this weekend.
Yeah, I mean, obviously this is one that everybody's been worried about, I guess, in this round. We have not performed well at all the first two rounds, even besides our problems last week. We probably I think we would have finished in the top 10, but probably not a lot better than that. So, I haven't even looked at the points, but obviously we were behind, and it would be a good race to win. So just go with that idea. Go try to race hard. Try to be up in the front and try to win.
Okay, we'll open it up for questions for Matt. We'll start up front with Ed.
Ed Hinton, ESPN.com. Matt, you're known, I'm sure this sore point with is the man who changed the point system, or people think that when you won the championship, it changed the point system. Now, what do you think the possibilities are of winning a chase without winning a race, and would that be okay with you to become the guy who sort of blew the new chase format apart?
Well, I'd be happy in winning the championship no matter what the format is. Obviously, the format's changed a lot through the years. It feels really different for me this year, because if it was last year right now, we'd be done, but if we could come here and get a real good finish and, like I said, I haven't even looked at it, but finish ahead of a few cars, we could possibly get all our points back again, and be even going to Martinsville, next week. So that's definitely a different feeling, than it was before. So, obviously, I wish we would have won some races by now. The season we had last year, I never dreamed we'd go 12 months without winning a race, even though I realize how hard it is. And I never really lose sight of that, because I've been around for a while. So you got to enjoy it when it's going good, and you realize it's really hard to win races. But still, the way we ran last year, I didn't think we'd be sitting here right now without a win. So I certainly wish we had some wins. Got 5 weeks left, I guess. So we still got a chance to win some races. I hope we have a good day Sunday and get into the next round. And even if we don't, I still hope we can win some races before the year's over.
Okay, we'll take our next question from Bob, then go Tom, Nate, Jenna.
Bob Hocker, Sporting News. Have you thought much about the events from last Saturday? And would you have done anything differently? Are you kind of happy with what you did? Are you embarrassed what you did? Kind of what are your feelings?
None of it. I mean, you never want to get into confrontations. At least I don't. I like to avoid them. I'm definitely not, built for fighting, and it's not really, in my genes, not something I ever really want to do. But I guess everybody kind of has, their breaking point. And, last week, it was bad enough to run bad all night and to be frustrated and then get too tired to get toward the front. And, Brad clearly saw me, roll outside of him, and he hung a right on purpose and ran me right in the wall and ruined my night and possibly took us out of a chase contention. So I was mad enough about that, and then to come down afterwards and have your stuff off and your net down and come and pull those, high school stunts playing Car Wars after the race was just absolutely unacceptable. So that definitely put me over the edge. I don't regret my actions. I'm not proud of them or happy about them or any of that, but I don't regret them. I don't know that I'd do anything different if the same thing would have went down again.
Okay, we'll now go to Tom, then Nate, Jenna.
Hey, Matt, Tom Jensen, FoxSports.com. There's nobody who's locked into the chase by more than 26 points, nobody who's out of the chase by more than 26 points. Is there any safe haven in this race? Is there anything you can do to protect your spot? Is there anything strategically different going to do this time?
Well, you're not going to think I'm telling the truth, but I really haven't really looked at our spot. But I thought somebody said we were ninth. So if we're ninth, we certainly don't want to protect that. We gotta, I think, be eighth after this race, so or better. So I don't know. I think there's going to be varying strategies. I think the top few guys that got a big cushion, I would be shocked if they didn't just ride around in the back until after the last pit stop, something like that. But you never know. This place is unpredictable, and enough people get that mindset, and you won't have the big wreck until the last lap. And if you're not in the front on the last lap, you're not going to get a good finish. So I think everybody's going to have a different plan. I got to get with Jason and get with everybody. My plan, I think where we're at and really needing to win at this time of the year. I think we, if our car's fast enough, we go up there and try to lead laps and try to be in position and try to win this thing.
Okay, we'll go Nate, Jenna, then Alan.
Nate Ryan, USA Today Sports. 2 questions, Matt. One, you were spared penalties from NASCAR. Did you expect that? And 2, everybody seems to point to you as the best example of, hey, the chase has emotionally charged this entire series and everything's different. Would you have reacted the same way, though, if it hadn't been a chase race and all the same events had transpired?
I would have really, obviously I was probably more upset about getting ran into the wall than I would have maybe been in week 2 of the season. I mean, that's there's probably a little bit there. Some of that is from frustration from the season of not running to our potential, and being taken out of a chase race. And afterwards, getting hit after the race, my reaction to that was, besides taking my stuff off and thinking it's ridiculous to get hurt after a race is over by somebody acting like a little kid using a car for a weapon. I thought that was ridiculous. But that's the second time he's done that this year, just to me. After the Richmond race, he came and wiped us out down in turn 2, then came on pit road and took another slug at me and knocked the side off our car. And besides people having to pay for him and work on him and all that stuff, it's just not acceptable. So, after that happening again was probably most of my reaction. I was not. I mean, you never know, but I think that in the past, I think if you go in there and first of all, it was not a planned action, and I didn't go in there with fists flying or anything else like that. I just really wanted to get to him, I guess. I'm not sure what I wanted to do when I got there, but I wasn't really expecting one, no.
All right, we'll now go to Jenna, then Alan.
It was obvious I didn't really have a plan, right?
Go ahead, Jenna.
Jenna Fryer, AP. 2 questions. Matt, taking your belts off when you did, in hindsight, would you change that?
When you're on pit road after a race is over, I thought that'd be pretty safe. I mean, that's what we've done every week for 15 years. You know what I mean? You get to pit road and while you're waiting, everybody's going in the garage at 2 miles an hour. You start getting your stuff off and, get ready to get to the trailer and get out of the car. So I thought that was acceptable and that was safe. I mean, I know under a wreck and anything like that, while the event is still going on, I know they certainly want you to stay close to your car. But once you're on pit road after the race or in the garage area of all places, I think it's always been a practice to start getting your stuff off and get ready to get out. Been in there a long time.
My second question is, there's no video that we've seen of you taking the wave around at 6 to go. Brad does say on his radio immediately that you had just hit him. Was that intentional or retaliation for the restart at 63 to go?
Well, Brad is greatly exaggerating that point. If you watch video, you can see he had no marks on his right front of his car after that. He said it tore his whole right front off. I did indeed swerve at him when I took the wave around because I was mad he put me in the wall and totally ruined my day. But if you look at his car, there was absolutely no damage on it. That was just him greatly exaggerating the story.
Okay, we'll go to Alan.
Alan Cavano, NASCAR.com. In case you do want to know, you're 1 point out of 8th place.
All right, there you have it.
Will you want to know during the race where you are and if you need to do anything, or does it matter?
Yeah, I mean, only if you can do something about it, I guess. It just depends on the situation. A lot can happen here. It's so different from any other track. I mean, if you don't get that green-white checker and it ends like, I think it was last fall's race, where they're kind of all lined up, and Joey and I got together and tried to make some moves and got shuffled out and lost 4 or 5 spots. Jimmy tried making some moves, got shuffled out, lost some spots, and with me and Jimmy racing for the championship last year, we've kind of got in the top. We're like, man, we're not trying that again. I'm not going to go from 16th to 25th on the last lap. So I guess in that type of case, you would like to know. But if it's crazy green-white checker and everybody's 3 wide and you need as many spots as you can get, I guess you don't. So I think it kind of changes here more so than any other track. It's kind of a interesting race to have the cutoff because of a place like Charlotte or Kansas or whatever. They can give you the information, but there's not usually a lot you can do about it. If you're 5 car lengths behind a guy and you're running as hard as you can and you're not catching them, and if they say you need one more spot, what are you going to do about it? So, but certainly that could change here, and there's probably going to be a lot of different strategies. And teammates out there and all kinds of different things going on. Because it's a track, you can't really do a lot, by yourself. So, so it depends on the situation.
Okay, final two questions in the back. Go ahead.
Tom, and Alabama's 13 in Birmingham. I guess you kind of just alluded to it, but is it kind of, for lack of a better term, in some ways cruel to have this track be a place where an elimination happens and there's a cutoff just because it's so volatile and so unpredictable?
I mean, I think it'll make for a lot of great storylines, a lot of things to watch. It's been a race in the chase since the chase started. It's certainly a track whenever, if you're fortunate enough to be in the chase, it's one you always kind of have in the back of your mind. Probably every year for me, except for last year, a couple years ago, when we were running so good here. But other than that, it was one you always had in your mind. You're like, oh man, you could come out of that race, 43rd as easy as you could come out of there third or second or first. So it's very can be very unpredictable. So. But it's always been in the chase. I think it's always had very big implications, or had the possibility to have very, very big implications for the chase. So it's not really that much different right now. I mean, yeah, it's a cutoff race, but it's one of the three.
Okay, final questions, Al.
Yeah, Matt Al Muskie from East Alabama Sports Today. In line of what you were saying, racing here is traditionally pretty wild as it is. With all that's on the line, guys, with the cutoff and just, 4 of these guys getting eliminated, how wild could the finish and how risky could the finish be here this year beyond what we've seen in the past?
Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of it's always circumstances here. I mean, it almost always ends with a green-white checkered. Whenever you have a green-white checkered or less than a 10-lap run or so, it's always extremely crazy. It's always 3 wide, sometimes even 4 wide. Everybody in there, trying to put their car in places where there's not a lot of extra room or maybe no extra room. So, I mean, I think it's always like that. They're always huge races. Everybody wants to win. Nobody wants to wreck, but everybody wants to win. And it just kind of lends itself to that kind of racing. So I'm not sure how different, it's going to be. There's I'm assuming what somebody told me, there's probably 4 or 5 cars that it's really important to get that finish, and then there's probably another group that is just important not to get wrecked. So I think there's going to be a lot going on, but I think the finish is going to be intense no matter what.
Matt, thank you very much for your time today.
Thanks.
Good luck this weekend.